send me the minutes from, from the last meeting, and I get it. He's not sitting in front of his computer all day long, as I'm.
Fire. Got it. Okay, so tonight's meeting will come to order. Jennifer, would you please do a roll call?
Carl Walden.
Here.
Lori Fitzgerald. Here. Arlen Kai.
Here.
Arlen? Here. All right.
Steve Jernigan.
Here.
And Tim LeBron.
Here.
All right, thank you very much. Item number 3, we have a few sets of minutes here. Looks like we've got the joint OPEB meeting.
Very last minute, so.
That's okay. Joint OPEB meeting, it starts on page 3, page 6, September board meeting, page 9, joint with Rutland and Dunn, and then page 10, town work session, budget work session on the 3rd of October. Any questions about?
The September meeting is just very, very, very brief because nobody made any motions or anything, so I just.
No action.
There was no action, I just wanted to jot something down because we had a meeting, we need to record something happened at it, they're very, very, very short meeting minutes. The joint meeting minutes were not as detailed as I'd like for you guys, but I think you should still adopt them, and I'd like to include them in your record since you guys were all there and that was a quorum. I would like you to do it, and then I will do the same for the September meeting that you attended when those minutes are available.
Anyone else, questions, anything like that? Okay, then without objection, the 4 sets of minutes are approved. And item 4, the financial report, loan updates, hand vouchers, all the financial things.
I do want to make note, so on page 14, Tim, you asked me about this last month. We paid on page 14 is just a payoff letter that we received from Lake Ridge Bank for paying off the short-term note. So we did pay that off a month early. I had that note actually being paid off in November. So we actually did get back the interest that
Awesome.
we,
The unused interest.
yes, the unused
Oh,
interest. So there's a $1,400. So I usually, I want that little bit of a buffer period so that when we, but we get that money a little bit and I paid it off. So they reimbursed us for that.
That is great. As
money.
long as you know how
So-
the money flows through, and if you feel comfortable.
Yeah,
with,
I just wanted to
timing.
let you guys all know that, so that even though we had that loan for a year, when I have the money and I get the money and I can get it back, they did reimburse us that.
Beautiful.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Awesome.
It's because Stephanie said, hey, we got back our money. And so,
Yeah, $1,400.
yeah, it was
Adds up.
$1,400, and that was just paying it back, that little bit amount early.
That's enough. We can
2
cut
months.
down the tree.
So,
Beautiful.
and then I think
Anything else on that?
I think there's not really much anything about the, we had the Brooklyn budget amounts. For some reason, they bill us really late in the year. They do it in October. I just wanted to get them paid. They usually bill us like the 14th of October. I got them paid because of the way
That's like the
that
20th, what was it, like 10,000, 20,000?
the final
It's
fire
further.
budget numbers, it's 7,000 and 5,000. They're gonna bill us October 14th. The way that we pay bills once a month, and so the way I know bills come in and the way that we have our board meetings do not always align. So I just want to let you guys know, the EMCS is the Jensen petition that's for the work, the engineering work on that we have contracted. So I will get reimbursed for that.
Right.
So I don't think that there's anything else in here that's all that unusual. I will say, okay, so the Dropbox situation for ballots, we used to have something that would hang on that. When we first did it was during COVID, it was like something that hung on that railing and it was zip tied.
Yeah.
That wasn't gonna
not the
fly
same.
anymore.
Mhm.
So we got something, but it's actually like screwed into the concrete.
Okay, good.
So that box is screwed into the concrete. And we'll actually use that for contractors to drop things off when we're
Oh,
closed.
as a,
So it-
as a business drop.
Yes, yes. So we wanted something that's not just a ballot drop box, but something that people could actually put things in that's gonna be more secure. That could actually, so it's actually secure, like you can't move it, so that's
Now, is
okay.
having a dual purpose for it something that's gonna be agreeable to the folks that complain about their drop boxes and how unfair it is?
You know, what, I don't really, if we don't use it as a Dropbox, we just needed something
Okay.
for people like contractors that wanna drop off things for building. A lot of times they're either running really early in the morning or they're running really late at night and they want something to drop something off. We just didn't have a space for it. Now this will give us a space for those people to drop things off on. So
Great.
the Dropbox thing didn't really actually matter to me kind of a whole lot. I just don't want it zip tied to the
No, I know.
front.
That's
Zip
just-
tied to
it's
the
not-
thing.
And is it locked?
Yeah, it's locked. Yeah, it's locked. So we have keys for it. There's a thing. But I wanted to let you guys know, because it kind of looks like a file cabinet that looks like someone could walk away with it. It is actually
Here.
it's actually bolted to, there's a story in the news about someone who walked away with one, but this one is actually.
That was in Blossom,
Yeah.
That was
the mayor.
the mayor,
That was the mayor.
my hometown.
Is it?
No.
Jennifer, are you gonna encourage people to like drop off tax payments in there too? Or is that not really if people come here, do they typically just wanna get a receipt right away?
Yeah, they could use it. Yeah. they
I mean,
could use
we-
it as a
we
drop
could
in
either-
for tax
I
payments.
mean, at this point, nobody knows about it. You know, so it's up to us, I think, to either tell them or not tell them.
No, the one hanging on the railing just was like a COVID, we were sticking something up because we had nothing else. This is just gonna be more secure. So yes, it can be used as tax payments, yeah.
Yeah, if there's a benefit.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay, so that was part of the charge, I think, there was a charge, an expensive charge for Home Depot, that was part of it.
Anything else? Then I'd be looking for a motion to approve the financial report, loan update and payment vouchers.
I move to approve payment vouchers, et cetera.
Second,
Second.
Laura seconds, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no, that passes. Thank you. Do we have anybody connected online, Jennifer?
I did not see anyone.
You know, just for public comments, I'll just see if anybody
No.
is. It's like, no, okay, so no public comments. Moving to item 6, I do want to mention this too. I don't know how this is gonna play out tonight, but it's the BME Belleville, Montrose Exeter EMS annual meeting. I think that starts at 7,
Mhm.
which normally doesn't matter, except they're voting on their budget.
Yeah.
And I think it's the village of Belleville that voted no on the fire budget.
Because there was a.
Because of there's an
Audit wasn't
audit
finished yet.
that's underway.
Yeah.
To me, it's a totally separate issue, and they were the only ones who voted no. But I think they suggested / more than encouraged that an audit be done like a year and a half ago. I think it's when the conversations were underway. So obviously none of us are there. Mike is there. So Mike Rakowski was able to cover it. What I don't know for sure is at the fire meeting, right after, as part of the budget approval agenda item, everybody broke into caucuses. Now, he'll be the only one there from the town of Oregon. I said, if you need anything from the board, then give us a call. And I talked to Chief Backus too, who's the MS chief there, and same thing. Give us a call if you need like the town to do something informally to say, yes, Mike can vote to approve.
Sure. Yeah.
It wasn't in the packet, but in case somebody wants to see it, the proposed budget, our part of
Is
the
it
vote.
page 22, 20 or 21?
It
That's not,
Is it?
it's
21?
just, yeah, it's just.
Oh, it is, it's just not, okay, sorry.
Is that the same one that we
That's the
saw?
same one. That's the same one. So the line item that matters here is the levy, our levy is $736 more than last year. So
On a $4,800 budget.
And that's on page which?
20s.
20.
4 lines from the top, 5
Oh, there you
lines from
go.
the top, yeah.
So, I didn't think that we were gonna oppose the budget for any reason based on that.
I just want to make a quick note as well, in going to the meeting today, in Stephen's point. It was, it was very well known across the town association that the personnel budgets have gone up about 15%. And so, part of what my hesitation was in our last few meetings with OFED is it came out at 13, 14+%. And Brooklyn came in at 4. And so I'm like, how can part of our budget come in at 4 for personnel changes and part of it come in at 15? I was able to get a good statewide gauge on how the personnel budgets have changed, why they've changed, et cetera. So
I also have the data from our neighboring villages, townships, as far as the salaries, everything for all of the personnel, fire personnel, and that's piece, and
I'd like to see
as a comparison, and because
that came out.
I do have this, so
Great,
I can make your copy, or you can take it with you for a while if you want to, that's fine too.
great.
But do you have can you account for why it's so different between Oregon and Brooklyn?
I think that Brooklyn may not have caught up to the union agreement.
I see. Okay.
Because that is moving across the state now, so budget time this year, a lot, especially the larger municipalities. Get that in right away,
Get it in.
and the smaller municipalities.
Yes. Okay.
So with that in mind, I would expect Brooklyn's
Expect it
budgets
next year.
to be a little bit different.
Kind of back to Belleville, just to say, if Mike or the chief, either one calls me, what we'll do is just a quick recess. Sure. And then answer whatever questions. I would not. I really don't have a feel for whether we'll get a call or not. I'm not sure. It doesn't have to call, but it was really run in a way at the fire meeting that was unclear whether unclear how involved the board needed to be.
Yes. And our piece is so small.
Right, and so we approved we voted at the district meeting to approve the budget, the
Yes.
fire budget, so this is just the EMS. So anyway, if they call, I mean, Mike seems to have a good handle on it from the fire meeting.
Yeah.
I can just run with it
Yeah.
and you can handle it yourself, but if not, then we'll just take a short break. Okay, anything else fire and EMS related? And then we'll jump to page 23 is where we start to get into the resolution on exceeding the limit.
Can I back you up just a second? Yeah, I'm sorry. I had people a sheet. I had a question. They're going over the budgets again, and balance sheets, and I saw one thing on there that was, I had no idea what, if you look down under assets, I think I've got it checked off there, 113,150. There's a line that says allow for doubtful accounts.
Yeah.
138,000. So I thought, well, Jennifer, you guys in finance and business may know what the heck that means. I asked Glenn, and interesting enough, because he usually has the answer for everything. Glenn didn't. He didn't have a clue what that meant.
It probably is a combination with 100-13100, the accounts receivable, which is probably fees for runs.
Yeah, and I think
And whatever percentage they assume is not collectibles, is
Yeah.
whatever you divide,
and I thought you guys
whatever that number
would
is.
have, and
So they're not gonna get the money.
so it was possibly accounts that haven't been accounted for yet or paid for yet. That was the only thing we got from people. And there, if you're interested, he did write into from Tara Bast, Johnson Block. I can read this to you if you're interested. As of 12/31/23, the allowance calculated was $138,794, a difference of 35,000 from your number. The village will need to clarify the difference of what was posted to that account since the audit adjustments. Okay, this really doesn't mean a lot to me. The allowance is an estimate of the billing accounts receivable balance that is not expected to be collected.
Right.
So
It's about 30% of the 454,000. I don't know if they just always assume 30%, like they're not gonna get through.
In the budget for the coming year, it was something that drew my attention, from OFED. They had income, EMS income, budgeted of $1.5 million for the coming year, and $1 million of it uncollectible.
Yeah,
Oh,
So this may be a quarterly charge.
yeah.
oh, that could be. Yeah.
So-
I do recall the chief mentioning, and I don't know in what context, but that idea that they never know how much is gonna be collectible.
Right,
And so they always have to kind of budget. And
Yeah.
some years are better, they do better than others. in
yeah,
collect-
Medicaid picks up, a lot of those calls
Right.
tend to be Medicaid calls. And Medicaid pays what they want.
What they want.
About $400
Per
of,
call.
and most calls are $1,500 in cost.
Right. Mhm.
So there's the numbers,
There it
just
is.
with
Just with
six,
the,
with 3 more digits
and the
tied
fact
to it.
that the calls, the population that requires the calls is going to be.
Medicaid.
People,
Related,
or Medicaid, or.
Yeah. especially,
Medicare.
a lot of calls, particularly in the village, had been Main Street quarters. A lot of, quite a number of the, EMS calls, I don't know what the percentage is. Were at Main Street quarters, which is closed now.
Mhm.
But those Main Street quarters, the nursing home on Main Street,
Oh, okay.
and a lot of those are Medicaid
Yeah.
patients.
Mhm.
Yeah, although the numbers, since they closed, really have not changed, so they've been.
Yes.
picked up someplace.
Yes, someplace, yes.
The other thing really of any significance, they are getting it, they have an engineering consultant, SH, if you're familiar with them. It's a firm that does a lot of fire district stations in the state, and they're looking at, what the best option is for the village, if they're still, this is still wide open. They're talking about the options of to move, to add on to existing, or to add another small fire station. So there's that one, there's that third part that I never realized.
Talk about that one.
They hadn't before, but that's another option that will be on the table. Just a heads up for that. I am going to be sitting on their planning, and that's going to be, I think, November 17th. No, November 18th. That's a Monday at 2:00 in the afternoon. And who knows? I mean, they still don't have a master plan and everything else. So whether it's a cart before the horse, I don't know. Otherwise, on the lighter side of life, they're having adopt a hydrant plan. So,
Adopt a hydrant.
Oh.
but you end up with
Name on the hydrant. Okay, great.
Anyway,
Anything else? Really, the next one is OFED related also.
So for that one, can we just, for a minute, so November, town board meeting will also be combined with our, public hearing?
Yeah.
We're gonna try to pare down that, because we're gonna have a board meeting right after.
that's on the 12th, right?
Yep. Do we need that as an agenda item?
The OFED resolution?
I'm sorry. Do
Or-
we need fire and EMS reports on the November? board
Oh.
meeting? We usually
Um,
have it just as a report for everyone to report out. In November, do you need to report out on? I'm trying to just make that agenda be a little bit shorter since we have everything kind of happening at the beginning of
Yeah.
that meeting. Does anyone need to report out in November on fire and EMS?
I would assume no. What we could do is if there is something critical to distribute, we could get in the packet.
Yeah, you can just let me know. Okay, I'm gonna leave that agenda off for November.
That's fine.
Okay,
I will,
thank you.
I will let you, actually, I'll let you know by the 8th.
Yeah.
That's it.
I just feel like we're basically, it's all then you guys are just preparing budgets, so it doesn't seem like there's a lot to report. So I'm gonna leave that.
I think that's
agenda.
fair.
Okay.
I think that's
thank you.
fair. But I do think that if anybody, if you feel that you need to have something presented in the meeting, let's just get it into the packet as a memo or something. Okay, anything else on just general fire and EMS? Okay, then we're gonna move on to 7, which is, did Martin draft this resolution? or
Martin
was-
provided this resolution, that's
Okay,
correct.
okay, so this is the one where all of the participating municipalities are had a general agreement to adopt this resolution, so we have the flexibility in exceeding the limit. So we've talked about this before.
Again, this is the resolution that we can choose to use or not use as long as it's been adopted. Yeah.
But they're looking for a motion.
Would you explain that one again? That one went a little fast.
This is the resolution. It simply says we're adopting the option. We are approving the option to use an excess of the levy. It doesn't mean we're going to,
Okay,
but if we don't approve this resolution, we can't.
okay,
So it gives us the option to
Yeah.
use that excess.
not locking us into it.
Right, exactly. I didn't explain it very well.
We're looking for a motion to approve.
I move to approve the resolution of the town board regarding the local levy limit excess.
I'll second.
Any further discussion, Arlene? Any other questions?
Nope, just making
Okay, Lori?
sure we're not locked into it.
Okay, all right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no, and motion passes, thank you. Item number 8 then is the $115,000 borrowing that we talked about, and it's starts on page 25. Can I ask you a question? What was, so Mike at the bank is quoting 5.58. What was it? What was it a month ago? It was under 6 still,
I think it was 589,
5.8 something.
589.
So like,
That number sticks to me for some crazy reason.
And we were looking for a 0.5% adjustment.
50 basis points, so it looks like we're getting 30. I don't think that's horrible.
Right, that's more in line with a quarter that some people were talking about, the predictions. But were they talking quarter to a half?
And I don't know whether they're financing, I assume that they set the rate then internally, and it's not indexed to whatever.
Right.
So they don't have to, if there's a broad 50 basis point reduction, they don't have to drop their rates by 50
They don't have
basis points. So it looks like they're going somewhere between 25 and 30% or 20%, depending on what else. I just noticed that, I just wanted to point that out in case you didn't see it.
So it's about 25 points.
I don't remember what it was before, but I think it's
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I
it's in
want to say maybe it was 5.79 is what I want to
7.9,
remember.
so-
5.79 maybe.
I have it here actually.
Yeah.
I know it exists somewhere.
5.79, yeah. I
I mean, in one way, it doesn't matter so much.
It's not a big-
We're not gonna be, it's not a negotiable rate necessarily. I think we'd rather not. Like, for that. The borrowing resolution is on page 26. It's pretty straightforward. So it's 115,000 and the 5.58% rate. 12-month term.
And this is looking for the year, it was a year term.
12 months.
Yep.
Oh, there it is.
And we'll probably end up, it's gonna take about 4 weeks, so the loan term actually won't start till about November, because it takes about 4 weeks to actually get the loan paperwork done. So we'll pass this resolution, but by time the loan paperwork actually gets kind of through, we won't actually be signing it till November.
Okay.
So we need to just this gets that loan paperwork started.
So then, we can have discussion after the motion in a second, but I'd be looking for a motion to approve the resolution.
I would have motion to approve resolution number 09-2023 for approving borrowing for capital equipment and road.
Okay,
I'll second.
Harlan seconds. Okay, any further discussion? We don't want to cut it off too much, but anything else? Pretty straightforward, I think.
Boom.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no, and motion passes. Thank you. Item number 9, park report.
Oh, I'm sorry. The torque report didn't get in here. I'm so
Oh.
sorry.
So we did, did you say torque or park?
Oh, I thought you said torque.
No, park.
Oh,
So we're still on
park.
item 9. So page,
I'm sorry.
looks like
Okay.
page 27, and we're starting with the cemetery.
Oh, okay, all right,
And then Dave's got and then a couple of emails after that too.
okay.
And I know Dave sent me a message saying, oh, he couldn't be here tonight because of prior commitments, but I think he said he's gonna aim for the next board meeting.
I
believe he said that. So,
And I figured that Steve can handle that, so I don't assume that Dave's gonna come, I assume that Steve is gonna handle it.
and it seems like Dave is giving us, documentation to
Yeah.
cover whatever he may have said.
And like I said, I've not been to a meeting, or at least the last two have been on the joint meeting
Mhm.
nights, and there's a meeting tomorrow that we just found out about that I cannot be there either. They are, I know Dave's made a lot of suggestions for the editing of the POSP. And then I know he's got questions about modalities and hair. You see this one sheet, I just read this briefly again the other day. Wants to know if we should get our attorney involved in the legal responsibilities and the ownership regarding the 1 acre Lake Harriet cemetery. We talked about
And I
that.
think that's already underway.
Yeah, we talked about
So, did we hear back from Bill at all on Lake Harriet Cemetery?
With the last meeting, what the suggestion was is that we actually have the park committee send it up as a request.
Oh,
And that's what
okay, so
we're
this,
doing.
okay, so here we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
Okay,
so I think
perfect.
what that was what you guys wanted, so I think that's what he's doing. So I think what that next step would be is us actually sending, now you guys voting to send it or agreeing to have it be a formal request.
Okay, that was, and we wanted, okay, because it came from Dave originally
Yes.
only, and
Yes.
it went back, so it did go to the committee, my understanding.
Is that, were you at that meeting?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so then let's, I'd be looking for then a motion to refer the question of the entire Lake Harriet Cemetery situation referred to Bill Morgan for review.
Can I ask a question? Do
Sure.
you think that, how would you like to best handle this? There's a couple different ways, and this is just, I'm asking. Do you think it would be best do you want me to send an email? Do you want Dave to draft an email? What kind of questions does Dave want to have answered? There are sometimes very particular and specific questions that he wants to have answered. And I want to make sure that what the attorney is reviewing or what Dave would like to get asked is getting it.
I think our
If that makes
contact
sense.
with Attorney Morgan should be either you or me
Yeah.
Okay.
primarily.
Okay.
And then I think it's fine too if the preliminary email to him or request to him is more general about ownership and future maintenance and whatever the sort of the basic questions are.
Yeah, so.
And then if Dave has
Yes.
additional,
Yeah. Oh,
if he
sorry.
has additional questions, then I think we bring that into a future discussion with Bill Morgan. doesn't have to be way in the future, but you know, after, I would let the attorney get his bearings on it first and then if there's anything that didn't get answered, then we can follow up.
Okay,
That seem fair?
yes.
This is primarily ownership and maintenance.
Right.
Yes.
I think that, I mean,
Is that what we, that's what I wanna
That's
make
what it
sure.
is.
I wanna just specify exactly what we wanna be
yeah,
specific.
I think
about.
those are the,
Maintenance and
have-
ownership,
Yeah,
okay,
do we have responsibility? And if we do, what is that responsibility around maintenance and operation, I think?
okay. That's what I want, because I wanna limit the scope or
Yeah.
exact, that's, I wanna know before it gets too many tangents, right?
yeah, and I think you could grab Dave's paragraph from
Okay.
his September 2nd email. I mean,
Okay.
that really,
That's
it
great,
seems to
okay,
cover
Yeah,
everything.
okay, perfect.
And if we do have, there's kind of a 1A, I think. If we do have responsibility, is there something we need to do to retitle that property?
Retire the what?
Retitle the property.
yeah,
So that it is an town of Oregon property, because today it isn't.
Right.
yeah.
Because there are
That's what I
people,
was wondering.
because there are neighbors out there that have complained
I
about,
was wondering.
about trespassing and
Yes.
what, I'm not
Yes,
sure what that means.
Yes,
But somehow that's got.
And
You're
is it-
exactly
Titling
right.
maybe so people know that this is a town of Oregon
Yeah.
property.
Yeah.
Just to make it really clear.
Yeah.
Because it's titled as Lake Harriet
Lake Harriet
Cemetery.
Right,
Right.
And so we can't enforce any rules
no,
because we don't have ownership.
Mhm.
And so the 1A is, do we need to affect formal title of that property? The challenge is, who signs
Hmm.
for that ownership change
I did,
from a Lake Harriet Cemetery side of things?
now who,
Is it just an abandonment?
yeah, who technically owned it?
Lake
Ever.
Harriet Cemetery,
Ever.
that's
It was
who
a
owns it.
cemetery association that has dissolved or just,
So I think it's a eminent domain. thing
yeah,
almost.
yeah.
Mhm. I mean,
That's
in-
the
In
question.
Dave's email, he gets that a little bit, maybe not as fine a point,
Yeah,
but I think if we want to call it 1A, sure. I mean, that's fine, but I'd to emphasize that too.
Yeah.
So ownership,
okay,
titling, future maintenance.
okay, that sounds great, okay, then that just gives me just a small scope of then what he can really
Yeah,
provide.
yeah,
That's great.
and we may have more questions.
Okay, but then at least it's not so,
broad, yeah,
yes, and too much, or,
because that's expensive.
yeah, and I think then if he gets back, I think what it could be is that then it can just come back to the board. And then you guys can review it,
Yes.
and then if there are any more questions, then it can get passed on to Dave after you guys have had a chance to look at it. Before there's more, but you know what I'm saying, so there's not so many people asking questions from what the attorney's response is, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Sounds good. On that,
Yeah, I'm just totally blanking out on what. So okay, so we need a motion to refer, okay, I started to say it, that's why.
or not, but
So I think we do to just refer it to so we need a motion to refer the Lake Harriet Cemetery issue item to the town attorney.
I move to refer the Lake Harriet Cemetery question to the town attorney for review.
Okay, you're a second. Steve seconds, all in favor, any discussion, answer first. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We'll say no. And that passes, thank you. And then for item 9B, what the drafts of the park and open space plan. And I think, and Jennifer, you said you have it, but we're not supposed to distribute yet?
okay, right, Dave meant to put this really strong email, but I will send it out, because I think at that point, because page 29 of your packet, there is always a a component of any kind of plan that you're doing, that you at least welcome in residents to have an option to look at a plan before you pass it. So the idea is that the town board would pass it in December. So you would want an opportunity for the public to come in. And so it looks like that's what the park would be doing on November 13th.
So this agenda item is just a placeholder still.
Seems like it.
So,
No action.
yeah, so it looks like that's what they would do. And then, I mean, if everyone is comfortable with that on the town board, if you're comfortable with that being kind of the process that's being laid out here. And then it looks like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like maybe then they're going to sort of, from talking with Dave or hearing, they're gonna look at this park plan as being more of kind of like a comprehensive plan. They're not gonna just say, oh, we're done with it. They're gonna go back and look at it more. They're gonna get it passed, but then they may amend it as they see fit into the future. So they won't, they'll do more to it, but
Yeah, I think.
this is just getting it passed.
Right, he mentions in the one message about after their meeting on the 13th, if there are any kind of edits, that they'll have it to probably you by the end of November, and then for us this December.
So it looks like you'd pass it, but then it looks like they might still meet with maybe neighborhoods or have more formal meetings with certain neighborhoods into the new year, into 2025. So I will, if you guys are all interested, I don't want to overwhelm you because we're in budget time, but I can get you that park plan if you feel like you want something to put you to sleep at night, maybe.
Is there some, I just want to ask, for the public, is that going to be posted so the public can review it beforehand?
It will be as soon as we're given the
Because
okay.
these things do, as you say, there's a lot to absorb when you look at them.
And more people actually are interested in them than you think.
Right, right.
So what has been published so far?
Nothing.
Okay.
And if you just
I
have,
didn't miss anything yet.
Zero.
no,
Zero. No.
and if you just have a draft, if you have an early draft.
Yeah.
I don't know that we need to see it.
And
I'd
that's what
rather
I
not
haven't
review
sent
an
it.
early draft than have a change,
I
and then
agree.
have to review what the
I agree.
final draft
That's
is.
why I.
Okay,
Okay.
and let me just ask you, so for the November 13th meeting,
Yes,
the typically the packet would go out a week or so earlier. Is there a packet for that? I assume there'd be a packet for that.
we would want to post the plan on the website. And typically I always look at something being 2 weeks ahead of time. That's
Yeah.
where I would always feel comfortable with
Right.
something. I'm not sure, I'm not obviously in charge of this, but that's where I would want to
Okay.
be something.
What I'm getting at is that's not that far away, like 2 weeks ahead of time, it's only a couple weeks down the road from now, so let's just,
Be like right around the
Let's just wait
presidential
for that.
election. Yeah.
I don't think we need it. I don't think we need a draft of a draft. Okay, anything else on that item? All right, then item 10 is Danecom increase in costs.
Did anyone attend did you attend, Lori, okay. So I was kind of hoping that someone attended the Dane County Towns Association meeting. Because apparently this was a big topic at the Dane County Towns Association meeting, that the Dane County costs went up. So Danecom is, we pay into Danecom, but then Danecom, like the fire districts also pay into Danecom, so all sorts of people pay into Danecom. And that's the 911 system. So if in your packets, there's all sorts of information, but you can basically look and it predicts what our costs will be over the next few years. Let me just take a look. That was one thing that I was going to try to put in your packet, were the minutes from that meeting.
So it looks like the projected cost is going up by $2,300
Right.
Yeah,
on a $7,100 budget, which is 30%.
right. It's huge. And I put in our packet where, and I will be honest, I didn't spend a lot of time looking at it. We at one point signed a contract with Danecom. It was, starts on page 50. I don't know when this, I do know, and I have heard some towns have simply just stopped paying because the cost, as we all know, levy limits are killing and
Right,
especially
right.
killing towns. That this is just one expense that a lot of them can simply no longer afford.
Right.
So so I'm bringing this up, and actually the minutes from that Dane County Towns Association meeting are up here, and I should have put it in your packet so you guys would have had a chance to review that, where they brought this topic up. And obviously they talk about expense. I think it's kind of, it reminds me of the jail situation where everything just kind of got more and more expensive.
Yes.
You know, and we're paying for this Danecom multiple times because all of our fire districts are
You have
paying
to
into pay into Danecom as well, yeah. So,
Okay.
I mean, this Danecom is what powers our radios. That's the network,
yeah,
the emergency network.
yeah,
I don't see how we can say, oh, we're not gonna, I don't see how anybody can say, oh, we're not gonna pay for it. We're not gonna participate in safety issue, you know, providing emergency services and communication. I don't see how anybody
Yeah,
can do that.
they have us over a barrel in a way.
Yeah,
Well, there's also seems to be a bit of a safety cap. Well, yes, this is a big bump. But way back when they set the amount that we're responsible for is 825,000. As far as the group of municipalities except Madison. And that seemed to be pretty ironclad, I suppose, until somebody finds a way of revisiting that.
right. And in Chad's one email, even though he got the amount wrong, he got the last year's amount. He did say, your estimated 2025 cost is whatever, and going forward, it won't change by much after that year to year,
Because they're at the maximum.
because they're at the max.
Mhm.
So I mean, nobody likes a 30% increase, but if there's gonna be a 30% increase, and it's only $2,000 for us, and it's a vital service, I don't know what else we could possibly do.
Okay, so this is the emergency service,
Radios,
radios here, but it's also 911.
Dane County.
Is it the 911 system?
I'm not sure if it is. I mean, I know it's the radio. Jennifer, you were saying it was 911.
so I think it's like, it's from, you know, 9/11, when everyone realized that whole kind of thing. This is the outcome, this is the rollout
When you can't
from it,
talk
yeah,
between radio systems.
this is the
It's a
rollout.
huge problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it seems solvable. You think?
Seems like there's a lot of problems.
But there are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think for our purposes, well, this is just me speaking, right? For our purposes and for a $2,000 difference, you know, if we have to look at it again in 2025, but move on with the 9,400.
After we're hearing, it shouldn't go up.
That's what it's,
If that's what they're saying. So I think just measuring that against reality a year from now is, and then, because that's when we can say, hey,
you said.
we hit the max last year.
Those aren't comfortable words.
Should we have
They
some,
could, they may go up a bit.
Yes, right. It's kind of squishy.
That's nothing.
should we have something more concrete from them?
I don't think, they probably can't.
I mean, if we're gonna agree to this and with the assumption it's not gonna go up.
I think
Well, it might
if
be
you
in the
look at our
document.
contract, it looks like, yeah, their contract is in here, so I mean,
It's in the packet.
yeah, our contract starts on page 50. So we'll, you know, we'll be able to, you know, renegotiate or look at these contracts.
And it does say with the annual total cost to municipalities other than the county not to exceed 825,000. So if we're paying a percentage of that, then it won't go up. I don't know why, I'm not sure why Chad said something about more or less, or I don't know. I mean, I think it would be a fixed number. Unless it's a percentage of,
Says
I don't know if it's a per
county may
capita.
not withdraw from this agreement. I don't really. Like I said, I'm not,
Mary, I think the bad news is it goes up $2,300. Good news is it doesn't go up after that.
it might be more worthwhile since like I said, I had hoped maybe someone had attended one of these meetings, but they'll probably be discussing this again at a Dane County Towns Association meeting or something of that nature, but this was more just like, hey, something to watch for, because it's kind of a big expense for something that you don't really necessarily see.
Mhm.
And I just, yeah, how do you guarantee costs aren't gonna go up
Mhm.
after 14 years?
Right,
After it hits the max?
Yeah,
that,
I mean, once they
well, doesn't that mean they'll just renegotiate, like it's.
either renegotiate or the county will
Oh.
pick up whatever the increase is. Cause they're saying all these municipalities who are paying 70% are maxed out now. So any increase will be paid by the county
Unless somebody changes
unless someone changes the contract.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the master contract is, I don't see an expiration date on this master contract.
so it could probably be redone in the county.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the term of the contract is.
Well, there you go.
So I think we grin and bear it this year
And make a note to.
and make a note to
Study it.
refer back to
carefully.
this next year.
Yeah.
When we both were told any increase going forward won't be covered by the municipalities. And that the county will.
But that's kind of, not that that just leaves us open though. It's not very in stone kind of thing. It's a kind of good faith effort, right? We just have to take them at their word.
What's the term of this contract?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
There are terms of the contract.
But they could change
It's
it.
assigned 13 years.
Well, but it-
everybody has to agree to it.
Yeah, I think the entire, I don't know if it would have to be all of Dane County, all the municipalities. I don't know how the approval.
You don't have
I don't think they do that. How many municipalities in Dane County?
33.
There's a goodly group. Well, you've got,
I don't think they're gonna negotiate
Separate.
30+ different contracts.
No,
And I think some of them, like I said, some of them maybe never signed the contract and some of them just stopped paying,
and aren't even.
aren't even paying. Some of them are not even paying.
And how can they get away with that?
They just don't pay.
It seems, I wonder if they still have to be covered.
I
Like
think
if
they
they have
just
to
don't
still
pay.
be allowed to participate somehow.
I think so. And I think they just
it's the
don't pay.
32 towns plus all the villages
Okay.
and cities, except Madison.
Okay. All right, I don't know that we need to act on this.
No, it was
It's
It's
just,
just a discussion.
just an FYI.
Yep,
Yeah,
no, it's
FYI.
interesting.
Yeah.
But of all the things that, of all the things that where there's a price increase, this is one where I'm like, okay. It's pretty important to have any services available. Okay, anything else on item 10? Next one is the tort.
oh yeah, there's our little
56, there's-
report. And there was a discussion about the budget of, that we had for the upcoming. So, Sheldon looked at it, he thought it looked reasonable, he feels that, the decisions that were made to reduce the hours open and to go to having two people on staff normally rather than three, that gave us some flexibility in the budget so that then when we had to offer extra hours, it just seemed to work out
Mhm.
okay. And then people do seem to like the ability to drop off large stuff. Instead of calling Pelletary, they can bring it down. And they seem to get a lot of business for that.
Are we charging enough?
Are we charging enough? I could run that by an ask.
What are we charging for large
I'm not sure
stuff
what
that
that.
we have
Yeah.
We have
Yeah,
a
we
fee
have a-
schedule.
We probably
We
have a fee
will
schedule, I don't.
Fee schedule. Should we do that
We-
at the next?
We always
budget hearing?
do that.
Do that,
Yeah, we
yeah.
always do.
Do it at the next, I'll send it out in an email
And
later
and
this week.
I'll give them a heads up that they need to look at that.
Since we'll need to talk about safe.
But
bills,
we were firm on the idea we shouldn't charge less than Pelletary does.
Yes, right.
Right,
But
right.
we're-
So,
because we're just
The only
offering
difference
that
is convenience, yes.
And you don't have to have something sitting in your yard waiting for Pelletary to pick it up, and you don't have to call Pelletary and set it up, and that is a convenience.
Yeah.
Especially the people that love to load up junk and take it down there. But there are people like that.
Should we compare to Dane County also?
Yeah, you could take a look at that.
We have the problem we always have had is we've had this problem because we don't have a scale.
Yeah,
That we've always had that problem, but then the other problem we've had is because we sold so many punch cards, we could never tell what we charge versus what we collected because
yes.
we had so many people using punch cards, we never really
They
could.
were 10 years old.
Yes, that we never really could get this really without, so we've been keeping track,
Yeah.
trying to get this, how much we were collecting in value versus how much we were getting emptied in the, seeing if we're doing it. But I think right now we're trying to get a good handle and I think we're doing okay. I think we're doing well.
That's what,
Yeah.
that's what Sheldon seemed to think.
Yeah.
Piggybacking on that.
And comparing where we are in this year's budget, we thought it looked right. Yeah,
I'm piggybacking on that extremely small sample, but is there any significance to the court card punches on the 14th of September at 20 and then went down considerably and consistently down to 4
Well,
on the 5th of
yeah,
October?
people are gradually,
Are they just all of a sudden?
we stopped
they're not-
buying them back.
Okay,
They still get them trickling in here and there. And I don't know that this is a big enough sample that, somebody, and if those are different people, I don't know. But they just want to just trying to take a record of how many punches they were getting every time.
okay, and
So
the,
they kind of
and
know.
the total revenue, is that a running total?
That's what they would get. No, that's per week.
For that week.
Okay,
Per week.
so, and that kind of follows along with the fewer punch cards is the revenue total is
Your revenue goes
climbed,
up.
especially from 28th to the 5th.
Yeah, but again, it's not a very precise.
No, it's not. No, but it's,
You know,
and it more, maybe more of an indicator.
yeah. But they are seeing that the punch cards seem to be running out. There seem also to be an endless supply of those punch cards that are in people's kitchen drawers and.
It could be an expiration date.
I
right?
can tell you, I think I have 2 or 3 in mine.
Yeah,
Oh, we got their money.
yeah,
Long time
we
ago.
did get their money,
And we stopped buying that.
and we are taking them. We
Oh, we're
did,
taking
we
them.
aren't buying them back.
We're not buying back, okay.
No,
I mean, if somebody came in, I mean, let's not.
they
like we're gonna
probably
like-
would.
We just
Yeah.
haven't, we're
We
not,
just have fewer
promoting that.
requests and we're not, but there was a lot of that at first. The loans
Absolutely.
was so, yeah, but that seems to have tapered off. And and now that people know they can use them, that's probably helping too.
It's just really hard for us. We were just.
I'm still gonna, I'm gonna use it.
Right, well, you may wanna just,
Get to know.
laminate it and put it in
frame it.
and
Not my total.
turn it into a kitchen of refrigerator magnet.
Oh, you really love that, wouldn't you? And you really get the money and not provide the service.
Time gift.
Lori, we're worried about you.
Yeah,
Okay, anything else work related?
Nope.
And then next item is Road and Traffic Safety Committee. That's.
Well, you got the minutes here from the September 19th meeting. We did have a meeting on the 12th, which was Locust Grove. Did that come into the last?
I think that was in the last 7 minutes, well, or is it
Okay, what-
in here?
Then we're just gonna lump these things
We
together.
amended them, though. I mean, we did have to make
Yeah.
an amendment to them.
We do have the 5-year plan that is being recommended to be adopted by the board. A number of the descriptions of the work that to be done on the specific project will be clarified once we do the coring of the 10 corings of the worst roads that we have. But the immediate thing is that we are going forward with the major work for 2020, recommending the major work 2025 in Raven Oaks. And having the culverts being put in this fall. I'm not quite sure where all that action has, that's been approved, discussed, and I think approved at some time, but I think we should have the 5-year plan approved here, or at least have these things as placeholders.
Do we have
Is-
to approve the striping?
Sorry?
Do we have to approve the striping for this fall? Is that what the board?
Have we heard back from Dane County about the possibility of striping this fall?
I have not gotten an email about striping this fall.
You have not.
I've not.
And there was also the possibility of doing the coring this fall.
That was, yes, that is true.
And we were gonna wait,
But-
yeah.
But we also have, that if they do it this fall, that it may be something that can be paid as we budget it in 25.
Okay, all right,
So
yeah.
the suggestion had been have the coring, if it fits in, and the striping, if it fits into the schedule of the crews, let it be their, sort of their choice, as long as we can be billing in 2025.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
And that's included in the short-term borrowing package.
The
Those
striping
costs.
is, the striping is included,
That's what
yeah.
I thought, yeah, so we will do it.
Yeah, we had approved the cost of the coring.
The coring was not included, but I did include a little bit of that overage. I think there's like a $2,500 little buffer, so I don't know what.
In
I
the
know
150.
35, I think there's, you at one time thought coring was 3,500, so I don't know what you thought coring would be for 2024, but there's a little bit of it. There will be a little bit of an extra in that 115, so
We rounded up.
yeah.
That we rounded it up.
Yeah, so there'll be a little bit extra, I think, if
So I
you,
think
if you
we're
wanted to
covered
put
there.
some coring, and yeah.
Things that, a discussion on the 5-year plan, since the town has never had this really brought out to the public before. I would think that we should be having something up, posted on the bulletin, at least on the bulletin board and on our website. And there was a question whether this needed to have a public hearing to be rolling it out, or wait for people to react to it and say, hey, we want to talk about this. And it's, I don't know. I would be more in favor of if we get public reactions, if say we want to talk about this, then let's talk about it. But until then,
I think that's part of what they elect us to do.
Yeah.
I
yes,
think that's,
Yeah, we agree. Sort of as a counterpoint, is there any benefit to us to follow the way that the Parks Committee is rolling out the,
I think that's more of an official plan that's so different. That's a,
it's not exactly parallel.
no, I don't think this parallel. This is Public Works thing. This is what we plan on. We're gonna be doing this every year.
Right.
We're not gonna be having a public park and open space plan every year. I think this is, they're incredibly unique.
Mhm.
So I'd say unless we have some hue and outcry, see, this is what we're doing. This is what you elected us to do, and here it is.
Yeah.
I think it'll be, thank God you're doing something.
yeah.
That's what thank God you know what you're gonna do.
Yeah, yeah, and you have a plan, not just. a
If you like, I
concept.
think I could add this to the December agenda for approval from the board, and then it could just go as like a January kind of posting.
Mhm.
I don't.
That's, I think
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah, an annual
I think
report
that's
kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah, and then I think what you could do is, our annual meetings are in April, and I think that would be a good time
That
to
would
present
be.
it.
To present it.
Yeah, at the
Yes.
annual meeting.
I think that would be excellent.
Yeah, and that would be where you would present a 5-year plan, and either you could present it, Arlen, or you could have a member of the road and traffic presented.
Yeah, and it's more informational.
Yeah.
It's informational.
Yes.
Public meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Something,
because they're subject to change, those roads could all be subject to
Yeah,
change if
right.
you had something major happen.
if something blows
I
up.
was thinking of too, or the priorities might change from year to year, but at least we've got something to work from.
A couple of things that we're going to be adding to the agenda of the road safety is there is a request for a hidden driveway sign on Lincoln Road. And I was looking up as to what kind of requirements, and there are specific requirements on the part of Woodstock as to when you have it and where you should have it, that it's most effective. I would definitely like to take this to the committee and weigh a little bit heavily on the expertise of the group that's there
Yeah,
as how to calm traffic.
yeah.
Because I'm not so sure that with the person who requested it, it's really not a hidden driveway.
Oh.
Uh,
But their home's on the top of that.
No, the
Or the.
other person, their neighbor is the one that's on top. They're down in the valley, down by, so
Okay.
the only hidden thing that they have is that they got kind of a slope
They're
coming
down.
up to the road.
Okay.
The guy at the top, he's rather blind. He can't see anybody coming from the west.
Oh.
And he hasn't asked for the sign, but he's very interested in it because they've been talking. So now he's part of the story there. One thing that we are doing is that we're going to be having stripes down the road there, which should help keep people in their lane.
Not
Yeah.
lopping over.
And that's something I'm curious from our engineers
Yeah.
and that as to, is that if the most effective way, or do we need to have a hidden driveway sign as well? Because I don't know that sign,
I think your expertise on the committee can help address that.
Yes.
because I don't know that signs are necessarily that
I know
effective.
there's a lot to say about it. I can
I
tell. I
bet
mean,
they
I just
will.
know that.
Yeah.
But
And it'll be very interesting.
Yeah.
so we also have been contacted about campaign signs
What about them?
in the right of way.
Well, that's not a way.
Well, they're not only in the right of way, I think that's an ongoing issue. They're not supposed to be in the right of way. They're supposed to be on your property. And there's a lot of them in the ditch.
Oh.
But the one that called me is down on Storytown and Lincoln. As you're hanging left into towards the Torque.
Right.
That it is in the gravel shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
And I go,
Pull it up.
oh, right underneath the stop sign. And I go,
No.
okay, now, am I gonna go out, supposed to go out there and start jerking up signs that are in the,
I'd call the county sheriff that, because you can't do that, but believe me, as somebody that's put up a lot of signs in the last few months, there are directives of where they can be.
Yes.
On particular properties, and that's certainly one place that they can't be there, and I was told me by one of the OAF people is, call the sheriff, call the local sheriff, so I can't.
yeah, now,
They'll go pull it.
what's the sheriff, are they in fact going to come out and start pulling up signs?
Well, that's the thing.
I think it was a safety hazard. I think that you call them up and it's like, they've come out for sillier stuff.
Well, this is
The
pretty simple.
county or the town will remove signs when they're mowing.
They
Like
what?
it will,
Oh,
will
will
remove
remove.
signs, the county or the town, like our guys will remove signs if they're in the way of mowing. Like we'll take them out,
Right.
but we've gotten lots of calls about signs being removed, like political signs being
Yeah.
removed or damaged.
Right.
We've gotten tons of.
Oh, yeah,
those.
there's a lot of vandalism there.
Nothing we're going to do about it.
Right.
I don't know what you want me to do.
You know, I was gonna say that. Can't you just wait for the vandals to move them?
Somebody told me.
But but by going out and having anybody remove them, so also you're being accused of
Yeah.
partisan politics.
Oh, yeah,
Let-
yeah,
Let somebody with the authority to move it.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have no problem calling up the sheriff, say, listen, there's a sign that's intruding underneath the stop sign, can you have somebody remove it, please?
I mean, our guys would remove them if they're in the right of way and they're blocking something.
Well, there's a difference. I am, they're not supposed to be in the ditch,
Yeah, our
which is
guys
still the
would
right,
remove
it's
them.
not supposed to be there.
Right.
But when it's right up there in the shoulder, in the gravel,
Yeah,
I go.
There's a danger.
that's
"Hey."
begging for
Someone
being
just.
addressed.
If you call here, they'll go out and look at it.
Pardon?
If you call here and, you know, our guys would see it, it's in the shoulder, you know, someplace where
Yeah.
it shouldn't be, they would take them down. I
Okay,
mean, they're
well,
not gonna go looking for it, but
Right.
if it gets called in and we begrudgingly send them out there against their will and, you know, after several times of telling them, after several calls,
Well, interesting enough,
they will go out there.
there's
and do
about a
it.
quarter-mile section in Netherwood that has signs come up recently. And I believe the owner came out with his own lawnmower and mowed everything first. And then kind of put them down in the ditches area where they shouldn't be anyway, but
Oh.
at least the person mowed it, because it certainly was, and it was in the township, but it certainly wasn't any of our guys.
Well, are we gonna be mowing any more this season? Probably not.
Hard.
I don't even know if they finished mowing. I'm not sure where they are. You know, it takes us
Okay,
a
no.
long time to. it-
28 days and then breathe.
I think if it's if it's a hazard.
Yeah.
We pull the
Yeah,
signs,
otherwise-
otherwise 28 days, whatever it
Yeah.
is, just.
Yeah.
You know, let's not add to the,
I told the person that made the complaint about the one on
let's not.
Storytown and Lincoln. Said, you as a good citizen have the option of polling the signs because they are illegal. Or you put up your own signs next to it.
Well, to me, it's sort of like the flags that were put down at Storytown Cemetery back there. They were pulled by, I'm sure, by
The more.
Ryan, I think.
the Moors and got rid of them.
Well,
Yeah, but it's in the way of,
The
if it's in the way of.
mowers are not gonna do it
service,
because it's,
yeah, we should-
they're nestled in between the stop signs, the traffic signs that are there.
Well, if they're causing problems,
We'll pull them.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it needs any
I think
more.
in a broader look at it, we've got a lack of knowledge throughout the town about right of ways.
Yes, yes.
You name it, you know,
Yeah.
signs,
Trees.
building
Fences
things,
that grow,
whatever.
corn that's growing into the right
Yeah,
of
so
way.
we should at some point discuss how strict we wanna be about that and what we're gonna do about it, how to communicate it out.
I put that on to the agenda, 25, 26 agendas, right of way, vision hazards.
Yeah.
Uh, Yeah, crap in the right of way.
Right. Okay, anything else, Arlen?
I thought that was enough excitement.
That's awesome.
So we will be prepared to, at the annual meeting, to unveil the plan, or
Yeah.
also are we also gonna do it here at the, what's our public hearing for our annual meeting? Or what's our December one?
That's the budget.
So December meeting, how about you, I was thinking in December, you could approve that 5-year road plan in December,
Oh,
because
yeah,
you're gonna
in the
have a
regular meeting.
November. You're gonna have your November road and traffic, where you're probably, and then December, the board can finalize a 5-year plan. So then you can get on the website like January 1, and then you can discuss it at the annual meeting, like this is our 5-year plan. Next week, we'll have our next budget. So what we'll do for the budget, I think for the road work is we're gonna put in a number that you're gonna have, and we're gonna be doing a long-term financing. So we're gonna be putting in some numbers of what the financing for the road work are gonna be
Yep.
next week. So we're gonna have some numbers. We don't have to be taking out that loan, but to get our budget, get that out the door, we're gonna have to have some numbers in there.
Right.
They may not, they're gonna have to be our numbers that we're gonna go to budget for. They may have to adjust a little bit if things change. But they're gonna have to be our numbers that we're gonna go to for our hearing, okay?
Yep.
Okay,
Moving on. Number 13, the senior center report, and there are multiple pages, starting on page 66, going for a while.
This is repeat
Rachel?
of what you guys already heard of at that meeting.
Yep.
Mostly it gets put in here because if we had visitors or if we had town residents, this would just be something that we would want to share with them as an update. But I did want to include in there, which I think I included for, I'm not sure who was on the board when we were doing this, but page 71. For those that don't know, there is a council on aging, and all of us that participate in the senior center have this council on aging, which is another group that raises money. And so Chris Johnson, who is a town resident, is our representative on this council on aging. And she occasionally provides us with like an update. So that page 71 is that update that she provided to us on that. But then on page 72 was the agreement that we reached with the village on providing a flat fee for the next several years. And I couldn't remember if everyone had seen that. I thought maybe Tim hadn't, so I just
I
wanted
had
to-
not, thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I provided that in there as well.
I don't want to get into it, but I am curious how we ended up with $60,000. I don't need to know. But,
Look away, just look
Yeah.
away.
all right,
It's a lot of blood, sweat, and
I
tears.
know.
Just so you know, that's what, you would die, you would have seen the first number
Oh.
that came at us.
Yeah,
Yes.
That this was like.
It was unfair, we were gonna fight it and reduce it, and then we fought it and we hugged and kissed and
ate it.
Well, you know,
But a little bit lower amount.
we have, if there's in this packet, there are these pie charts. And I was having a horrible deja vu because the senior center kept giving us these pie charts. So, because we kept wanting to know how they came up with what was it,
Allocation.
83,000 dollars they wanted?
Yeah.
And they gave us these pie
It's
charts.
fiction.
And then, but these pie charts are just as bad, and I bit my tongue, I was gonna say something, but since you brought it up,
With the income.
but I can't even, I mean, were these in color?
Oh, I'm sure.
But I mean, I can't even tell, I mean, and Alfie, isn't the pie chart a pretty low-tech way to try to visualize some?
It's third grade data.
Yeah,
I kid you not.
yeah,
The kids in third grade will they'll get this clock and they'll get introduced to a pie chart.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. It's wonderful for third graders to understand the idea.
of a pie.
That's about it.
High level.
That's it.
So I'm sorry to.
You're not quite into quadratics yet with this
Yeah,
particular.
But, you know,
To the quick stand. that
No, that was it.
but
It was interesting.
it's clear that you really got the picture, though, you know, excuse the expression.
All right, anything else on that?
I just remember one person told me like, when they knew how much we were like, you could buy each of your seniors membership at Bergen. It's like, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
okay,
well, move on.
Anyway,
I digress.
In 5 years, we can
there's
do it.
probably some little figures.
4 years.
Sure.
All right,
right.
moving on. Item 14 is the building inspections reports on page 86.
I just have a question. Did anyone take home that packet of, fees schedule for the building? And anyone have
Safe
any?
bill.
Let's see.
Yeah. Did anyone look at that? Is anyone interested in looking at that? Is anyone curious?
We're gonna talk about fee schedules next week. Let's
Yeah.
include that.
Do you want to do that at the?
Yeah,
beginning?
let's do that, just to review it.
Because the town of Brooklyn, does anyone, I know Able has, they had contacted me because they were curious about the fee increase. Is anyone particularly like upset about a fee increase? Anybody?
It's mostly a pass through,
Okay.
right?
It's
I
an
mean,
80, it's an 80/20.
80%.
It's mostly a pass through, and if they want to, I mean,
Okay. Right, okay.
But let's talk about it. Let's
Okay,
at least
perfect.
include it when we talk about
Awesome,
the fee
that's
schedule
okay.
next week.
They've just been reaching out to me and they want to know if anybody on my board has like any issues and I hadn't heard any, so I wanted to reach back out to her. That's why I was asking you.
If they can wait
Okay.
one more week, then we can
Perfect. Yep,
give them a solid answer.
thank you.
And it looks like we've got a couple sample ballots and referendum.
Okay, yep, so Paige, just if you want to go, the building or the board and your board communicate, anything else? The only thing I think that I might have forgotten to include was we might have added, or did I include that? Did we add a work session? So we're gonna meet on the 17th. Then I think I forgot, we added another date for a work session, the Wednesday, the 23rd, I think. Wednesday, October 23rd is when we added.
9 o'clock, a budget meeting.
Yeah.
9 AM.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I didn't add that to my list. I was just remembering that today. So Wednesday, October 23rd was if we
Just in
needed,
case.
that would be the next one we added.
Only other thing I noticed was we have a vision.
Yes, this week,
survey question
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be on this week.
Yeah, okay, so sample ballot is in there. That's just, and then there's obviously a referendum question on the ballot, so that was just in there as well. That's just, it's, language on the referendum question, so I just included that. We are obviously doing mail-in ballots right now. We will be starting in person on October 22nd. Yeah, we're gonna be doing a training here next week. We'll be doing a training. Other than that, I think we have all the meetings through the end of the year with the exception of Plan Commission. They typically skip their December meeting, but it all depends on if there is something that they need. If there is somebody has a submittal that they want, then they will meet in December. So it just kind of is dependent on that. And I know there is one, somebody right now that might have a land split. So there could be a December meeting.
Can I ask you about a particular day, which happens to be election day?
Yes,
And I thought this a couple days ago, there was some article or post about essentially security.
yes.
Do you want or need additional security here on the site? On election day?
I have talked to Ryan and Abel. I would like one, I don't need both of them. I would like one of them to stay. It is extremely helpful because it gets very dark and I do not always know what the weather is going to be like. It gets very dark and it would be helpful. We sometimes have weird ballots. We sometimes have to run weird things. It
Yep.
sometimes it would be nice to have someone to help us with things that we might need to carry, sometimes things we might need to get, sometimes things we might need to move around or do. I don't always have, and me now being a little bit injured, it's just harder to get things to go from place to place.
Okay.
So I have talked to them and I just want to touch base with them again to see if they're able to do that. So I guess that would be the one request I have is to see if they would be able to help.
Now, you're just looking at after hour.
Like to have them help, yeah, to have one of the guys stay until,
Yeah, but you're not concerned about the rest of the day.
right, just that they would stay until the polls closed.
So no, what I was getting at more was, I think what Arlen is getting at too, is that I'm thinking, okay, private security guard
Oh,
or
yeah.
something like that. Are you sure?
No, I don't think so, no. I hope not. No, I don't.
Well, no, I hope not too, and I
Right
hope-
now, no. As of right now, no. Typically, we usually, and I will remind them, usually the Dane County Sheriff's Department will usually swing on through at some point during the day. They usually will swing on by. We'll usually ask them and they
Mhm.
usually swing on by.
Okay.
I find that we're usually busy enough that we're not like
Remote.
we're not remote at all.
Right.
So I think we're pretty,
And it's not like we sit here for hours with nobody walking in.
right, exactly.
Right.
It's more just having someone, I feel like I just need someone that's gonna be able to like access us, get us in and out, or help us if there is an emergency, having someone that can get, like one time we just had a poll worker go down, you just kind of have weird things happening and you need someone to like be able to like run and get you something, that's,
Right.
we can't leave, so.
Right.
That's it, but no, I hope not, I hope not to go there, so, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I do think that at some point when that would go through, that when we blow out that wall, that will be nice, to have just another access point out. Through the garage,
Mhm.
so I think that would be nice at some point in time.
I remember in the past, when I first started working at the Bulk, sometimes people would just come in at the end of the day. Like, I remember it was often board members like Fred and Wayne, and they'd come and help take the chairs
that.
down and stuff. No?
No, you can't do that, and that was like, we had to tell them that, so when you're not trained, you can't touch
okay,
ballots. You
okay.
can't, you, like, I mean, it's kind of like if you think about what they say in the news, it's like if you watched people walk in off the streets and all of a sudden start, here, I'm
Yeah.
gonna start taking ballots.
me help you.
You're like,
Maybe you have to just clean up.
No, I guess I had the feeling you're just there to move furniture and stuff. They weren't helping with.
well,
And then also but it did sort of give a sense of security that there were additional people in the room.
it was, yeah, it is okay, but in like when you're someone that's kind of in charge of it, it's people coming in to watch are okay, but you sit in a chair over there, you can sit and watch.
I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just
Yeah.
thought it was nice, It was sort
Not
of
when you're,
nice
not
that they
when,
were,
when you're like, you're like me and you're running a room,
yeah.
you can't have extra people in a room
Okay.
without a job to do. Otherwise, you're just sitting
You're
there
just
and you're
waiting.
watching,
Well-
because that's not, I'm sorry, it's just, there's too
No.
many hands and you can't
No,
touch things that
this
you're
is-
not allowed to touch.
This is just a general observation I want to make about this poll working. Most of us are women.
Yeah, right.
Most of us are women, and we're doing this clerical work. And then there are people gonna come and, make sure we're not stuffing the ballots in our bras or whatever they think we're doing. That's really starting to get my goat.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It'd be like, let's get more men down here.
Yeah.
Just so they know what it's like, and I used to think, I'm so glad I do this. Now I don't feel that way. I just feel like, whoa, I never signed on for what it is, what it's become.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really dreading
Well, that's sort of why I ask about this.
Yeah.
Is because it shouldn't be a toxic environment. And,
it. It hasn't been down here.
okay,
It has been a few times when we've had to go for those recounts.
oh, the recounts, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so we just got an email today, and so clearly they're already prepared for it. We keep our ballots on site,
Mhm.
but we are bringing everything. We are bringing our ballots after the election. We are bringing our envelopes
To the
county.
to the, whatever the safe storage.
I was just saying, transported in your
You mean,
vehicle or how?
Either that or the guys, we'll
you
figure it
mean
out.
the night of, not the next day?
We'll bring it the next day.
Cause, you used to always bring it the next
Yeah,
day.
we'll bring it the next day. We'll bring everything the next day. We're gonna bring
Ryan, do you have a
everything.
question?
Just a comment, I
Yeah.
was solicited to become a poll watcher,
Oh, okay.
and I said, are you sure you want me as a town supervisor to be a poll watcher? And she said, oops.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not,
So
Conflict of interest.
yeah. that
Got out of one volunteer job. I said,
You didn't really say no, though.
yes, I did.
Oh, okay, all right.
I said, I don't think that's
That,
legal.
yeah, that's not,
Um,
that doesn't fly.
a future, are we at the Okay, where's our future agenda item?
You're on it.
Can we pass that over that real fast?
Oh,
That's where
we're sort of-
we're at clerk's report.
Well, go ahead.
we're still talking future agenda items.
Okay, we have
And meeting dates.
future agenda items. We had the storage, secure storage.
Right.
We have the office for Public Works, getting that done. And as part of that, I would, at our upcoming work session, I'd like to go over there and introduce everybody to their current office,
Oh, okay.
which
If
is
someone hasn't seen it,
pulling the screwdrivers and wrenches off of
wiping.
a counter.
Wiping the grease off the laptop.
Yeah, and the dust coming down
Yeah.
from God. So I would like to have everybody familiar with the working conditions that they're in,
Yep.
which is abysmal.
Mhm.
Well, it'd be nice to keep an eye on what Rutland's doing with their new building.
Yeah, with that, that's
Although talk about
yeah,
being up
keep
with
that.
That's a-
But on, and that goes to the, I've been preparing some documents on what the town is currently and what some projections, potential projections as to what spaces are needed. And we haven't had anything on the agenda as to when we're going to do it. I've just been sort of ad hocing this along. And when is there going to be a time to formalize the space needs analysis of the town hall? Or potential or concept of,
I think realistically, we probably wouldn't be able to talk about it until January.
okay, but I'm kind of throwing a heads
Yeah.
up there as to when does this go into this is the worst kept secret in the town. But it is not, we're not taking any we haven't been doing any formal action on this. And when we start doing formal action, I think we're gonna attract a lot of attention. So when do we attract that attention? And when do I kind of keep this, it's a personal project that I'm working on?
Good question.
Are you talking more than the guy's office?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm talking future,
Space
future town
needs.
hall.
New facility.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was a segue from there
Yeah.
to the future.
That's right.
We've talked around it.
And
Because there's a certain amount of foot dragging that,
Mhm.
we're participating in around the secured storage building and,
Yes.
there's a certain amount of foot dragging,
Okay.
Yes,
thinking,
yes.
do we really want to spend money
Yeah.
right now when we have this bigger thing we
Yeah.
should address?
Right.
Well, it's gonna be a while.
Yeah.
When we put away the Band-Aids, and start,
Right. Yeah.
Does January seem reasonable to start talking about that with?
I'm gonna be gone.
Where are you gonna be?
I'm gonna be on a cruise.
Well, okay.
I'm going around from Chile to Argentina.
Okay,
So
so not January.
I'll be back after the 20th.
Okay. Maybe the February. Board meeting should be quiet. Let's say, right, as far as I know, should be.
She's
Yeah.
making funny faces.
At a minimum, just get it on we should just have it on the agenda as a
Yeah.
placeholder.
Yeah, I mean,
That's all.
so I guess what I'm thinking is like, so we're gonna have to, I mean, our loan doesn't have to be like nailed down in stone, but like, we can always take out a separate loan. I mean, you'll have to sort of address how you wanna do that.
Now, which part of this are you talking about?
Long-term financing, right?
But-
And that's gonna be one loan we're talking about. This, what you're talking about, is kind of separate than what I was thinking.
Yes.
And
That's what that's what I'm
That's
thinking,
just-
so, right?
This is future
But I'm
planning.
thinking this long-term loan, I guess what I was thinking is that you may wanna include a sum of money to bust out the wall.
Oh, yes, we do need that.
Okay, perfect,
I would like to get that in
perfect,
2025 budget.
perfect. And then the separate one then that you're talking about, maybe February, is just maybe the
Well-
long-term buying of a
Yes,
land and
that's-
working forward
yeah,
that.
That's what I
Starting
Thank
that
you.
conversation.
Yeah, that's what I
That's what I would
meant.
like to
So
do.
I,
My
in my
brain
head, I'm
sort of-
thinking, oh, we're gonna do this stuff over
That's
here.
more of a.
Public
Yes.
works, storage,
Thank you.
I-
Thank you.
because I think there's gonna be a number of years before we ever get to a
Oh,
point.
So kind of
Yes.
separating the
We
projects.
need this, and any kind of town center, that's that a big project that we start. You
Yes,
know, we kick off in February.
even if it is on warp speed, it'll be 5 years.
Yeah,
So I would make a request, and when we do that, if we could just have someone come and finish painting the same color of all of the walls, of the town hall. These are white and these are blue.
we could probably do that.
Thank you.
We could do that. soon.
We just didn't include that in,
A question on security.
yeah.
You have had an open door policy.
No, we love it. I love it. When I'm here alone, it makes you feel weirdly so much better.
With the
having
door
that
closed?
door- Yes,
Yep.
Yes.
yes.
Oh,
When
sure.
you, during the election, will you close the door?
During the and leave my poll workers out here, I
Yes.
don't know. That doesn't seem like very fair. But if we all needed to run in there and hide, we could all come. I'd bring them all in there with me. You know, or I could bring them all in there with me. See if we had that door, then we could all run out that door through the garage.
Yep.
But, you know, but they go in there and they eat now. Like we set up a table and that's where they can bring their lunch. And so it's very helpful to get out of the room, just lets them have a little bit of time to themselves. So that room is very helpful for everyone to just have some space. Yeah. It really does work well.
Okay, you did mention something about where that right now there's a certain amount of security here that you're not remote.
Not remote in the sense that during election day, we have enough people coming through. Sometimes
but-
there is a little bit of remoteness though, just in like a general day. Sometimes it seems, but there's enough people going by, I think.
That's when the closed door comes into play.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say, if we start
Mhm.
building a town hall out, it's
yeah,
gonna be out.
yeah. You're
Right.
gonna want a closed door.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
different situation,
Yeah. There's,
yeah,
you want the door to be closed
right.
when you're here alone. Yeah. I mean, it's
Yes.
unfortunately.
Talking about a town center that is.
One comment that I want everyone to know is that there was a time when the Village of Oregon wanted to kick all the towns out of the Oregon Fire District.
Take the, we're gonna what?
There was a time, not that long ago, well, whatever long ago it was, that Village of Oregon wanted to kick all of the towns out of the Oregon Fire District.
So that they can make
It,
decisions
Yes.
more efficiently?
yes.
Well,
So that we
So
up,
I want you to just know that so that when you mention that, we fought and we got back in, there is a contract, there is a district agreement.
Okay.
It doesn't sound like anything we've ever gone into anything that they've ever mentioned that before. But I just want you to be aware that, and Phil was on the other side at that
Yes.
time.
right?
So he was on our side at that time,
Yeah,
but that there is precedent for that.
how long ago was that?
So
Before Glenn?
it would be probably 25 years.
Okay, so.
I can get you guys the documents, you know, I could send them out very easily.
Mhm.
But I just want you to be aware that that is a precedent that they did try.
Okay.
So just, not that they're going to,
Yeah. I
but
don't think so.
just to sort of like,
It's not out of the.
it's not, I don't feel like their boards change and it doesn't seem like this particular board is on that. It's not on their mind, but.
Okay, we're getting closer. Anything else for future agenda items or any of the meeting dates?
So I'm gonna condense a lot of things down for November because we're gonna make it really small. So is there anything anyone can see for November that they would like included? That I'm going to probably, like I said, just include really very much the bare minimum with,
No, I think.
Okay.
It can be.
For the November 12th meeting.
yeah, Yeah.
You can be
Okay,
short and sweet.
okay, perfect.
Is that your clerk's report or is that,
I'm done. Yep,
is it?
yep.
Okay, anything else before we call it a night? All right, without objection, then we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
We have not heard from Mike at. We're about 35 minutes into the meeting. I asked him to text me or call me
If there was anything.